everyone, and welcome back to Transculture Club podcast, episode 12? Yes,
12.
Episode 12.
Mm-hmm.
I am joined by Laria. I said on the podcast, that makes it official.
No, yeah, it's Latvia. We already decided it's Latvia.
This has been established.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, poll on Twitter to follow. I say Laria is way better. Anyway, so that's Lakla's area, by the way. Back from ASEN, which we are definitely going to talk about in a bit.
Don't
but
mind
before...
me, the sound of me surreptitiously opening my HRT pill bottles because I forgot to take them earlier today.
Oh my! Speaking of, I literally earlier today realized that I hadn't been wearing a patch all week.
Oh.
I thought they were still on my desk. I'd got them on my desk. Like, okay, I need to put. Like, I'd taken them off, like probably in the bath or something, and then like they were on my desk ready to put on, and I just completely forgotten. And somehow my brain had thought they were on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
patches.
I was on my. The thing is though, the ones that matter really are the T.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you'll regress if you're not getting a constant flow of estrogen. It's just not great to not for too long.
Well, yeah, because actually, when you're not taking estrogen and you're suppressing your T, your hormone levels, it's not good to have.
You just got no primary sex hormone, which is not a good.
Your bones will not like it.
I'm a shit.
You'll also be tired as shit.
I'm a amoeba. No, I don't know. What's an asexual creature?
An amoeba.
Amoeba
are asexual.
Yeah, amoeba do asexually reproduce.
Also some flowers and shit.
Well, no, because flowers. Oh no,
some not.
flowers.
Yeah, no. Like some of them are sexual. Some of them.
Yeah,
they can just do it on their own.
Got those mad stamens.
Groot.
Yeah,
an asexual icon.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So before we actually get into the podcast, just to mention, after this, we are going to be recording our Time of Eve Book Club episode.
Eve no Jikan.
Yeah. So that will be going up separately on the podcast feed, probably at some time after this goes up, I would imagine. Yeah. I think that's how we did it last time, right?
Yep.
Whatever. So you still do have some time to watch it. I literally just watched it in the 2 hours before this recording because I lost track of time. But it's super short. It's like 2 hours total. So it's all on Crunchyroll. Go watch it. We'll talk about it in about an hour and a half. So yeah. And we have also just decided on our next book club, which is the newly released manga called, which we have actually discussed before, The Bride Was a Boy.
Yes.
Which actually came out 5 days ago in the UK. Because the first time I checked, it wasn't out here yet, but it is out here now. So I don't believe you can. I don't think it's included in any subscriptions anywhere. It's kind of new. It would be surprising.
Yeah, I think it's just
it is on Amazon
and like Kindle versions.
Yeah, there might be some digital versions out there. We'll look into that. We'll probably be able to give you more information on that like later on the road.
Yeah, we'll obviously keep mentioning it in the preceding episodes of the TCC as the weeks go on here. A relatively short read, just this 1 volume manga, so a very light homework load for you this month.
And it's pretty affordable for me. It's clocks in at just over. Oh yeah, there is a Kindle edition, which is cheaper. But yeah, for me it clocks in at just over £10, which really isn't too bad, to be perfectly honest. But obviously, understandably, because it's not on any subscription platforms, might not be as accessible to a lot of people. But that's fine. It's just I think it's a really.
There are other
ways
to access it if need be. But especially for these things, I like to purchase them if for no other reason than to sort of monetarily encourage licensors and publishers to keep picking up.
I just want this on my shelf, to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't have any manga. Like, this will literally be the first manga I own.
Whoa, that's cool.
That's
physical.
Definitely not the case for me. As we'll be getting into with the merch talk.
She's got more pornographic manga than you have regular manga.
That's true.
So do I, to be fair. As of ASEN.
You will get into that. We'll get into your porn payload later. Bride was a boy. Go read.
Get manga, read manga, watch podcast, enjoy much. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, that's about it. Let's get into it. So, I guess let's just get it out of the way, right? Let's talk about ASEN.
Yeah. So ASEN, Anime Central, is
Chicago
a Chicago
convention.
anime convention that took place 2 weeks ago now, just about. And both Zaria and myself were in attendance there.
Totally unconnected attendance.
Just have to show up. No.
So this is the first time y'all had met up.
Indeed, yeah. We're on opposite coasts.
For now,
East and West here for the United States. So when we started dating, we sort of looked into a place that we could meet up as soon as possible. And an anime convention makes for a great place to do so because the expenses associated with that can be written off in our taxes as business expenses. Because as pro anime YouTubers, anime convention attendance is a business expense. And thus that sort of lightens the load somewhat in terms of the hotel and flight costs. And so the place that ended up being as soon as possible and as sort of conveniently located as possible was Anime Central. So that's why we ended up there.
Cool. So before we start talking about like what y'all got up to, let's talk about the actual con itself. Let's get that boring shit out of the way.
I'm sure we have plenty to say on that too. It was my first anime convention. I've been to a few other conventions, but the first one of that scale, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
It was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was really fantastic. I think I'm a big fan of the con environment generally, because it's just a whole bunch of other cool nerds walking around and hanging out. I like being surrounded by my people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's sort of like the community feeling of it is very nice and like comforting to be around. And then there's just also like a bunch of cool shit at a convention. So,
and also like a pretty dang queer atmosphere.
Yes,
generally.
very.
Like Artist Alley, there's tons of queer stuff. As Zaria said, lots of hot butch girls.
Nice.
Look. Okay. There's this picture of this cosplayer that audience can't see, but whatever. That
I can see it. Link it.
Yeah, I will. One sec. I took a picture of her.
I'll put it on screen on the podcast. Maybe we'll see how up for editing I'm feeling. So, loyal viewers, hop on over to this YouTube tab to see this image.
Ooh, look how good of a job she did.
And Sidon.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, no, yes, Lachlan's correct. There were a lot of, it was very queer, which was great, because and it kind of has like a lingering effect in that like it just made me more comfortable with like queer stuff, even afterwards, like at the airport.
Yeah.
Like we were just kissing like openly in the airport with no like concern for like anyone's for anyone like looking at us funny, and I think the effect, that a big part of that was the effect of the convention like normalizing that kind of thing. Like everyone's just cross-dressing at the convention and stuff, so it's really a great environment.
Yeah, it was really fantastic. Cause like flying in, Zeri had even said like hugs are the most when we meet each other at the airport. Like, but
that's not remain the case.
Convention, I think, is
Come
sort
on,
of
keep it together,
guys. It's a great.
We're walking a fine line here, with, like you two on the edge of like breaking down into the giggle bits.
It's a great
I've got to keep an eye on it
to sort of explore all of that in a pretty dang comfortable space, which was pretty cool. Sort of considering some of the narrative that exists about like anime fandom or nerd spaces or what have you. Because the sort of that being the case might run counter to some people's expectations. The comfortability with queer expression.
Yeah, from what we were told, the 2017 demographics were 52% female, 39% male, and then 9%
no. 52% male, 39% female.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then 9% other, which is you would not find
and 3%
yeah.
gender fluid specifically.
Them NB showing up in force.
Yeah, no, which seems accurate. One of the most attended panels was
sure.
the gender identity in anime
panel.
Yeah, so that's really rad.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you think ASEN's kind of got a cool vibe with, or do you think that's kind of
I mean,
based on what I've seen, I think it's
California con.
Yeah,
but it is
it's
an urban area con, so it's probably leans progressive, relative to what you could.
Well, I mean, I feel to some degree it's just at least most American anime cons are similar in those respects. Not to say they're all great or perfect, far from it, but I think the general queer vibe is kind of just very present to them. But I mean, that's probably just reflective of a lot of queer people being into anime. So, but it was great.
Cool. So, what kind of stuff did you do? Panels, merch, cosplay?
Well, I was actually there on behalf of Crunchyroll Incorporated, which means I did a little contracting work and did 2 interviews for them.
Oh, cool.
So we interviewed the voice actress Kikuko Inoue and then the animator and director Mitsuo Iso. And Kikuko Inoue was
fantastic.
She does these motherly and older sister characters generally, and her presence totally matched that. She was so warm and friendly and inviting. It just felt like you were being healed being in her presence. It was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And then Mitsuo Iso, as promised, was a bit weirder and meandering. Not in his press interview session, but in his panel, he had a little comment about modern slice of life anime not being something he's too big a fan of.
Yeah,
which I had been promised something along those lines in some people I talked to in preparation for the interview just to get some tips on him. But yeah, we did those 2 interviews. We went to Artist Alley.
Oh, we went to Artist Alley.
I might have spent money in Artist Alley.
I spent, I think, $80 on prints.
Nice.
They're good and gay prints, so worthwhile. But
yeah.
Only actually attended 2 panels. Mitsuo Iso's panel, and then one on Kunihiko Ikuhara,
of course,
by this great excitable girl in Lulu cosplay. That was a real fun time. And then we toured the old merch section.
Oh, we toured the merch section.
And got a friend to show us to the porn section of the merch section.
And you
got a guide to lead you around. Nice.
Yeah.
There's this,
to be fair, I think that is a good way to do it. I know I personally would probably be a little daunted by wading into the swamp of.
No. Once we got there, I was able to do it on my own.
We just didn't.
I'm painting a word picture here.
We texted them up to it's this friend I've had on Twitter for a long time. Cool, cute MB friend. And so I texted them. We need the porn. Tell us where it is. Because no con experience is complete without having at least browsed the dojins,
Sure.
And so we got taken to the Holy Land.
Indeed.
Nice.
And
I spent
$100.
What, $100? $100 on dojin.
That's not weird for me. I've done that many times.
What's that equals in weight? Is that a kilo?
No,
is
no.
That key? Is that 1 key?
No.
2 key?
Well, she went up to the register with 200, and then when she found out how much it was, she was like, okay, let me put a few of these back.
Oh my god. It's like a kid in the toy store.
So I only actually bought 3, but they were large, so it's fine. And also, because it's not even that different from when I buy them from Japan, because the shipping costs are so extensive that I'm ending up paying a ton.
Sure.
Basically, dojins are not economical compared to regular manga. If you spend 500 yen, you get which is around $5. You get a 200 page manga. If I spend right now, I'm looking at this. The next Dojin I'm going to buy online from an artist I love, who I have the first 4 of their works, so I'm going to have to buy it. For 700 yen, you get a 20-page Dojin. So nice, good deal, good value. But also they're amateurs, and I want to support them. So like, you know,
support the porn artists you love.
It's not. It's mostly not porn.
It's
mostly not porn. It's mostly not porn. It's mostly not porn.
Yeah, just like middle school girl and married women isn't porn.
It's not porn. It's not porn. It's not porn. It's problematic, but it's not porn.
What?
You were not supposed to reveal that. That was bad PR.
Look, I just referred to a theoretical title out.
No. You don't. Do not pretend that you're not referring to one of the specific dojins I bought.
Wow, really, Zaria?
Okay, you
pretty
bitch.
shocking.
Yeah, fight. Let's go.
Break up live on air.
We're extending the Asen story as we speak. And then when we got home, we argued over Dojin.
Look, technically everything all of us bought was problematic. So, like, frankly,
Oh no, the threats.
Well, yeah, all porn is sinful in the eyes of Christ.
Well, you know, I had her buy a Kumiko X Dana Dojin, and they are high schoolers. So, you know, you could say that you too are problematic.
By that standard,
A pedophile.
please, for God's sake, find me some fucking dojins that aren't problematic, because, yeah.
They exist.
Like
they're good.
I know they exist. Oh, but the problem is, right, it's like, okay, cool, this dojin's about adults. No, okay, this is about a really kind of gross MILF stereotype where this is just like the
Okay,
see, that's why I buy non-fate content. That's why I buy all the non-fate
Here's the
content.
secret. Find the dojins written by non-men. Your success rate is going to be way higher.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Men
I find
shouldn't
some.
make porn
To
anymore,
be fair, I find
honest.
some, but it's a lot of curation. It's a lot of waiting for. I mean, like, God, are we gonna have like this conversation now? Like the problems, the inherent problems in like dojin kind of sexual fantasy. Because that's a topic. That is a topic.
That might be a bit meaty for today, but
that is a meaty
been
topic.
to
There's at least 3 different types of meat in this stew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Arby's.
Okay, let's table that one, because that is a topic, but at the same time, it's not maybe an impromptu topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like we might have other members who'd want to get in on that specifically. So yeah, we'll hold off on that. Put a pin in it as you do.
Cool.
But yeah, we also like didn't spend a ton of time at the con, because the con it's Friday, Saturday,
it's
Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We left early on Sunday.
Friday.
Did you do much drinking afterwards?
No, we're still underage.
Yeah.
Damn. I was trying to catch you guys out. I've been a cop this whole time.
Oh no.
Well, I hope that's not true, because I would be disappointed. But, yeah, so a lot of like hanging around like outside the con area then.
Lots of hanging out at the hotel.
At the hotel room.
Oh gee, I wonder what you're all doing.
Okay. So you know, before we go, we're not talking about that. We're not talking in too much detail about that.
Well, I mean, should we? Because that would get us some viewers, right?
Yeah, it would.
I mean, come on, we got to play. We got to play for the sub count. It's what YouTube's about. It's what we're doing here.
It would get us viewers.
No, we're cool. To be fair, I'm making these jokes, but if you two actually started like getting into detail and how you're burned down, I'd be like, ugh, I'm gonna make a cup of tea.
Yeah, we'll refrain from detail, but we did end up spending a lot of time.
Let's just say that the 100% Dom lived up to her.
No, it did not at all. Stop lying. You were like 40% Dom at best. Fuck off.
I'm sorry. Okay, back to sanity. What else do we want to talk about? Oh yeah, lots
Do you do panels? I think panels and cosplay. Those are two things we haven't talked about yet.
Yes, cosplay. We spent a lot of time when at the con just like looking at people cosplaying, which I think is like a worthwhile use of your time because like cosplay is just like inherently impressive, and it's also cool to see like what series are being cosplayed. I think it'll give you like a cool. I mean, it's obviously due to multiple factors. It's not like just if it's the most popular series, it gets the most cosplays. It needs a combination of like being popular, having like striking designs, all that stuff. Like you weren't seeing as many like you weren't seeing that many like Yuri on Ice cosplays, despite the fact that I'm sure it's super popular because like the designs are like they're distinctive, but they're not like My Hero Academia distinctive. They're not.
Yeah.
So was
that kind of thing.
Was My Hero Academia the big winner for
almost
cosplays?
certainly.
There were a lot of Hiroaka.
I'd say the biggest ones were Hiroaka, Overwatch,
Hoseki
no Kuni, Ruby.
Really?
Yeah, lots and lots of Hoseki no Kuni,
Cool,
which is cool. Cool. Just
Yeah.
Decent amount of Steven Universe too.
Oh yeah. That I think that kind of goes without saying. I think like the less. I'd have to imagine like Steven Universe would be pretty big.
Lots of Nier Automata. There was like a ton of 2Bs and 9Ss.
Oh yeah, is that still rolling?
Yeah, there's still a ton of people cosplaying it. Persona, lots of Persona. All the big stuff.
Well, I mean, there's like there's new designs like for the dancing.
Yeah,
designs.
I saw a few of them.
Persona 5 is like something that's still evolving.
Yeah, no, it was.
the
Persona 4 is something that's still evolving.
True. Although I have to say, I think the Persona 5 designs are so much.
I agree.
Like costume designs.
Well, I mean, even just like
the character designs,
even just the student uniforms are like I love the color schemes of them are
so
so good.
Yeah, just tarts and pans. That's all I need.
And like the black and red is a great color scheme.
Yeah. Like I would happily just make a definitive statement and just say the Persona 5 school uniforms are the best school uniforms in any anime property.
I wouldn't go that far, but they're in like top 10 or 15 for me, which is saying something. Also, their blazers and blazer school uniforms are inherently better than sailor uniforms.
Oh yeah, 100. God, I'm really sad we lost that.
We should just.
Were you guys both?
No,
on
I don't think either of us were actually like. I think we had to leave.
Were you guys not on it? I actually can't remember who was on it now.
I think it was you.
I remember. It was me, Anna Ferris, and Jared. One of our
did you
editors.
record? Do a recording for like Crunchyroll?
We did a recording for this. We did. Okay, so Crunchyroll. No, it wasn't Crunchyroll. It was Miles put out this quiz, this school uniform quiz. And it was just like a Google form. And it was like rate school uniforms out of 5. And we found it on Twitter, and we're just like doing it for a bit, and then like we're just like, oh, we could make content out of this. So like, okay, everyone who's around, everyone pile in the Discord channel. And not to throw him under the bus because it is totally like our fault for not reminding him, but like Jared kind of joins us around 5 uniforms in or something, and we're just like, yeah, come on, join us halfway through, it's fine, we don't need to restart. But we didn't tell him to, like, we didn't get his Audacity set up. So when we get to the end, we realize that we've only got 3 audio tracks, and Jared's
locally.
Yeah, he didn't realize that we're recording through Audacity. So I'm really sad because we had like an hour and a half.
Is that the rumored episode 10?
We don't talk about episode 10.
We could make our own.
Who was it? Who was the guest that I said would save episode 10? Is it Vin Diesel? I can't remember. The Rock? Or something like that. Yeah. Pope Francis.
No. Yeah, Pope Francis will do really good on the Trans Culture Club.
You disagree with my opinions? Come on my podcast and debate me, Mr. Pope.
I'm a rational skeptic, but I'm ready to hear both sides of the argument, Mr. Pope.
Yeah. So that's cosplay.
Panels.
Did either of you guys take any cosplays?
I
kind
brought
of
my casual Astolfo cosplay,
which they wore to a concert.
Yeah. I did not wear it on Saturday, like the big day we spent sort of the most time at the con. Because I was doing interviews, and I felt like it would be a tad like unprofessional to come to fucking paid interview sessions.
Your outfit was
still
super cute.
Unprofessional, or would it be the most professional?
You still wore your skirt,
never know.
Skirt that day, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I was wearing the skirt from the Astolfo cosplay, just because it was the only skirt I ended up bringing.
Cute outfit. Your outfits were like on point the entire time.
There are a lot of cute pictures, by the way. We have pointed out the pictures last week, but there are cute pictures, which I have to imagine with the Volume U2 tweet are probably pretty buried by now, but they're up on Twitter. If you dig hard enough, you'll find them.
Especially if you like go through the media tab, you'll get to
those
on mobile. That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it, because if you do it on browser, it displays one at a time. You have to scroll through it. If you do it on mobile, you get like a grid, which you can scroll so much faster through media.
And also, if you are like use the Twitter search thing, you can just search our Twitters for like tweets from the dates of the con. And,
wow, that's some hacker shit.
That's some Twitter research shit.
Yeah. Just hack into Twitter's mainframe, update their privacy policy, and download all the Larry pics.
The first time I met up with someone, like from online and in real life, like we just totally forgot to take any pictures. It like didn't cross our minds. So I really wanted to make sure that like we took a bunch this time around.
Yeah. Panels? Did you guys go to any panels, or were you too busy?
We went to two. Those two. That ESO panel where I got exclusive breaking news that
you technically weren't supposed to leak.
And then that Kunihiko Ikuhara panel that I mentioned.
Yes.
Okay.
Which was great and fun, even though I knew more than the presenter, but that's not fair. I'm making a 2-hour video on it. It's not reasonable.
And the airport experience, sort of tangential to the con, was cool because on the way out I got like definitively ID'd as female, because on the body scanner like my crotch lit all the way up as like a suspicious area.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure of that at first, because I like went through facing ahead, got patted down and whatever, but I turned around at some point, and on the monitor was like the image of my body and like a bunch of red squares dotted all over my crotch region. I was like,
this lady is smuggling some kind of German sausage meat in her skirt.
And also,
let's pull them over.
The like male attendant at the gate was free, but they waited for the woman to finish patting down the person she was doing before me, so she could do me, and sort of like the policy in airports is you get patted down by someone of the same gender as you. So they were totally thinking female there, which in spite of like the somewhat, like I wasn't too nervous, but it is somewhat nerve-wracking to be like pulled aside and patted down by TSA. It was definitely far more positive than negative an experience, because it was pretty cool.
The system validated.
Yeah. As much as like I both reject gender as an institution and the institutions at play in this case, I still will accept happily the institutional validation. Which I think is a pretty common struggle, to be honest. Like,
well, I mean, there's way more than that. It's like when it's like being validated by misogyny, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like what you just said, but my dysphoria does.
On the one hand, you catcalling me means you perceive me as a woman, which I like, but also the patriarchy is at play, which I do not like.
Yeah.
I'd say it was about like a 50-50 split for both Zaria and myself, sort of in terms of what we got gendered as, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been correctly gendered more than when I was in New York. Like, I think...
Yeah.
I think America's just winning on that aspect.
Maybe. I'm hesitant.
I mean,
well, okay.
I think it's very possible that the UK is setting a very low bar.
Yeah.
I think that honestly could be it. Like, if I move to Canada or Germany, I mean, it could be like just a completely different game. Who knows? But yeah.
Canada, I'd say, is probably a bit better, just because like sort of the rhetoric surrounding.
Well, specifically, it would be Toronto or Berlin, which are very progressive cities.
The rhetoric surrounding gender things in Canada seems to be like from a position of, trans people are valid, like from most of the people and institutions in power, and then like the opposition party, the Jordan Petersons, are leading the Glorious People's Revolt.
Even in America, though, like outside of a city, you'll get a very different experience. Obviously, Chicago's like a major urban hub, so like 100 miles away from Chicago, probably would have been very, very different.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
And a really cool thing related to that was the fact that I had a realization at some point over the weekend. Like, oh yeah, like I've probably at varying points throughout this trip been perceived as a gay girl, a straight girl, a gay guy, and a straight guy. Like, just depending upon sort of what myself and Zaria have been perceived as gender-wise.
Sure.
Which, again, I think is cool. I'm, like, in spite of being pretty binary trans, like, I'm totally a big fan of androgyny and like, confused and muddled gender perceptions from people in regards to me. Because I just think that's cool and good. Destabilization of the paradigm.
Gender punk.
Yeah.
Yo, is that a thing? Did I just coin something amazing? Hang on. Google.
The term has
Google.
been around, but it's a very, very good term.
Damn it, there's already a flag. God, this is one thing.
Yo, that's
there's
a
two
rad
flags for
flag.
gender punk. What
Holy
the fuck?
shit, this
Those
is
are
a
rad,
good
yeah. I love that diagonal
flag.
flag. But, it's just... Gay people love flags. Damn. so many flags.
Join my new organization, Flags for Fags.
There's
God.
there is a oh my god. So gender punk is apparently also synonymous with gender fuck.
I like punk better though, because it sounds like cyberpunk or like biopunk or like, you know,
or cluster punk.
No, that's not real though. Clusterpunk isn't real. Oh god.
Oh wow. Here's a thing for you.
What? Let's see it. Yeah.
Yes.
Smash the system.
Nice. What was our actual topic we were on again?
ASEN.
I think we're kind of maybe tail ending the ASIN. So I'm just going to throw it to you guys, like anything we haven't covered that's big that you kind of want to talk about. 'Cause I think we're like creeping up on 40 minutes now. So that was a meaty topic for sure.
Grabbing food was cool. Zaria ended up just not eating
much. Look, my stomach was not at its
yeah,
peak.
that's true. I was gonna bully her for it, but then I felt bad because she just has a weak stomach, and so she was feeling a bit queasy on and off throughout the weekend.
Great time anyway. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. We got to try Chicago deep dish, which was fun.
Oh yeah, how is that?
It was good. It was real good.
I wouldn't call it pizza, but it's good.
That's kind of like what I've heard people describe as deep dish
bowl.
pizza doesn't sound like pizza.
Yeah.
It sounds good, it just doesn't sound like pizza.
Pie, an actual pie. Like they call it pizza pie, but that's not like a pie, but like this is actually a pie.
Yeah.
And then there was this cheap hot dog place right down the street from our hotel, so we ended up we were thinking about going on fancier dinner date stuff. We just ended up going to that a few times mostly.
Yeah.
But that's good because we saved money in doing so.
That I just then promptly spent on porn and art.
That's good. It's money well
I'm just picturing Zario porn in one hand, food in the other, weighing them up.
I know which one I would choose.
One of these sustains me. The
there
other
was
is
one day
food.
where he literally just didn't eat anything.
It was 40 hours. I went 40 hours. Yeah, that was not a good decide. I'm fine now, so it's all good. But yeah, eat within 40 hours.
I will hold over her head because I had been mocked ruthlessly for my weight leading into things, but I ate far more than her. For my lacking
I
weight
swear,
specifically.
you talk about eating a lot. I actually kind of hate how skinny you are, considering.
I'm gonna fix it. Don't worry, Brooke.
Okay, good. Good.
Oh,
I just realized that is literally I don't know if I'd call it
literally an
kink.
inflation fetish.
No, it is not. No.
Get out of there. That's you're taking what I'm saying. I'm on this kind of more wholesome track. You're literally driving it straight into the trash fire. No. I wouldn't call it a kink, but there's definitely something really appealing to me about cooking for someone and getting them all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Being a wife is the best.
Yeah.
Even if you're wife to someone with some, out there kinks, it's fine. I accept them.
What? I am like so vanilla relative to like most people. Relative to you.
I just want to say that I'm taking a radical position here. This is me showing my true identity as the heel of the queer community. I hate all kinks.
Oh no.
No, we're gonna get kink shaming.
That's true.
Discourse,
It's
Brooke.
true.
You're
This
gonna...
is definitely not a bit. I hate all kinks. I shame all kinks. There we go.
Oh no.
I just put on my luchador mask. This is my character now. Okay.
But on HRT, like the weight goes to good places. So I'm definitely.
God, that's such an optimal way to do it, though. Be skinny, then start HRT.
Yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward.
I wish.
To...
I just dropped 15 pounds on HRT, so like
Yeah.
Nice,
when you
though.
don't eat,
Good work.
that can happen.
Well, I just stopped
yeah,
eating regular snacks, and that was apparently much of what sustained my like 100.
Okay, well that counts then. Yeah, that counts.
But yeah, very much looking forward to adding some weight now that it's getting the good fat distribution.
Get some jiggle on those bones.
Yeah,
I really want the jiggle. I really want the jiggle. That's not a kink. That's just appreciation of the human body.
Yeah, that's definitely not a kink. I mean, check out those fertility
kink,
statues.
Man, I'm out there.
The jiggle has ruled supreme since like the earliest days.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look, all I'm gonna say is that Lachlan was quite fond of me having more weight than her. So like, we'll just leave it there.
her like my breasts aren't even close to a B cup. Okay.
Look, it's hard to measure them. I was never taught how to measure them. I haven't had them. I only kind of technically had them before this, So like, I don't know. I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm sorry that I might have been wrong about things that I don't understand.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Before we get off the con topic, do you just want to shout out our lovely Ferris is at Fanime?
That's the one you're
cool.
on right now.
I got it right.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. The cosplay he's doing. I don't know the name of the character, but it's a fake Grand Order servant with a big ass paintbrush. And
it was.
I saw some of his. I don't know the name of the character. It's the one with the paintbrush.
Yes, Hokusai. Katsushika.
Yeah. Yeah, because we talked last week about him like running around like smacking people with a paintbrush.
Oh, another gender bent character. Cool. I should have expected that.
Yeah. So there's pics of that up on his Twitter and Insta, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that's right. I don't have Insta, so I wouldn't know, but I've seen his pics on Twitter, so they're definitely on there.
And we've already got our next con trip planned, which will be Anime Expo in like a month and a half here.
Okay. Cool. We can cross ASEN off. That has been a solid 40 minutes of chunky meat. Let's. Actually, this is good. This is a relatively good segue. I have
on the topic of chunky meat.
No, on the topic of events, I've been watching. God, like I've at this point, I think I've seen like 50 pool groups matches of Dragon Ball Fighters happening at Combo Breaker, which is actually in Chicago right now. Which is a big. I don't know much about the FGC. I think it's like the second biggest fighting game event after Evo. All I know is it's huge. They've got they've got so many people competing in so many tournaments and so many games being played there. Fighters is kind of the only thing I care about at the moment, and it's headlining. I mean, it's just headlining every event pretty much at this point. It's all people are watching, and it's really cool. Dragon Ball Fighters continues to be like a big deal for me. I love watching this game. I love the storylines around the players. I love how it, and it's just fun. Those are dude groups who.
Fighting games just have
fighting games are good. I think I might actually.
Narrative.
Yeah, I think I might actually continue to be like involved in the fighting game community after Dragon Ball Fighters because I wasn't before it. Like. I've definitely followed a few.
There's plenty in the FGC who'd be all fighters. Like, "Oh, you're not actually involved because you care about Melee," but
Yeah, no, I don't care about Melee.
No, I know. Some people don't consider me a fucking fighting game player, whatever.
Oh,
Fuck
really?
off.
Melee,
That's funny considering it's like the biggest
Smash
event.
isn't a
right?
real fighting games area.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Dive kick's a fighting game. It's such a stupid. Who says that?
Lots
that's
of
like meta
like,
elitism.
Everyone that's not a Smash player hates Smash.
I think that's stupid.
I agree. Thank you, bro. Thank you, the true ally we need.
I mean, I'm a trans person. Do you think I'm so like? Oh yeah, cool. So this is my favorite type of gatekeeping.
But yeah, I think Dragon Ball Fighters, it makes for a good entry point because you know it's probably one of like the first like new fighting games to take hold in the way it has for a while now.
I mean, like, it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm.
Street Fighter 5 is new technically, but like it's connected very closely to all the previous Street Fighter titles lineage and all the storylines going on.
So a lot of people don't even like it very much, but you know.
Yeah, but like with Dragon Ball Fighters, even though of course you know a bunch of the players who are competing in it are past players and have their own past narratives, it is a relatively sort of new point in the narrative for you to hop onto.
There's a really like early days of Overwatch vibe about fighters where it's like you have people playing fighters from literally every fighting game community. And like the different styles, like they're even talking about, the commentators are talking about like East Coast and West Coast style, like characters that are played more on certain coasts, so characters that are played more in Japan.
That's really cool.
You've got like Leffen is there, really kicking ass. Like
which is I find that amazing because like typically people, there's a lot of part of why people say Melee's not a real fighting game is like they're like, oh, the skills don't even transfer, and Leffen just shows up and is like, nah, the skills transfer.
Yeah, no, like Leffen is like he is expected to go top 8 for sure. Leffen. I mean, I've watched him play one group match, and he was like untouchable in that match. Like, I don't think his opponent was like super high caliber, but like Dragon Ball Fighters is a really, really hard game to get a perfect in. And I think he had like very close to perfect games.
And at a point where like the game is very much not figured out yet. It's just an exciting
They're getting
time.
there. They're definitely getting there. It's certainly, I think by the time the Summit of Power rolls around, which is the big event, like for fighters, the Summit of Power sounds like it's bigger than Evo for this game. By the time that rolls around, I think like the meta, people will have a pretty good grasp on the meta. And character strengths and weaknesses. Like the things like the Gotenks coming out of nowhere, the Gotenks pick gaining traction, that's already happened. You know, certain picks like Hit and Android 16 have kind of faded a little bit out of popularity.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Dragon Ball Fighters, it's definitely a perfect storm of the reason why this game hit. Obviously, the franchise is huge. It connects so many people.
Yeah, no, like I feel like because Dragon Ball is big, I mean, like gameplay wise, it's like a air dash fighter, like Guilty Gear or something.
It's a really clean Arxis fighting game.
But like it's because it's able to grab people from like Street Fighter communities and Melee communities and all that stuff because of the Dragon Ball.
Like
stuff.
Dragon
and,
Ball
like,
is just
solid
like
mechanics.
such a fighting game community culture thing.
Yeah,
it is. It really is.
Like, sort of stupidly perfectly tuned to capture that audience.
Because there's like this thing. It's like this unspoken thing. Like you go to like you just see all these people playing, and there's just like the two biggest demographics that I see at these fighting games are Japanese people coming over to compete and American people of color.
Yeah, no.
And you know that everyone in that building grew up watching Dragon Ball.
Fighting game communities,
the commentators, the competitors, the audience.
They've got problems, especially with gender. But race, like fighting game communities are probably like the most diverse, like competitive gaming communities in terms of like, like you know, like I said, the gender stuff. There's some problems with women competing in them, but shout
out to Dawn.
For race, it's great. Like black people and Hispanic people and Asian people obviously are like all over fighting game communities, and that's like normal. And so something like Dragon Ball, which is super popular among black people and Hispanic, like just everyone, but like especially among people of color.
No, definitely, especially among people of color.
It's really like perfectly tuned to capture that audience.
That's one of my favorite things about the fighting game community is just watching. It feels to me like watching these two cultures, like American people of color and Japanese people, coming together and like it's shared interests, it's shared ground, and just like white culture's nowhere to be seen. You know, it's a Japanese
this
property.
Is the future liberals want.
But it's nice. It's just so refreshing. I just like because
good.
there's so much. I already have so much white shit everywhere. Like this is nice. I like
potatoes
like
everywhere. Can't escape them.
My girlfriend's white.
I like having variety.
My mom is white. It's too much, honestly.
Too much white.
Yeah, so it's cool. I love it. It's so different for me. Like because those are two demographics that have been really lacking in the esports I've followed in the past, both people of color and the Japanese, just don't really compete in traditional esports anywhere near as much. It's pretty much just, I mean, if you look at like the typical kind of places that dominate,
Koreans and white
pretty
people.
much every esports, it's Koreans, it's Chinese.
The reasons I think are pretty clear.
Russians, Europeans, and white Americans.
PC versus console, like what you have what's available, and also a fighting game. You have like the console, you can play with multiple people, like in a neighborhood or like in a family, like on one thing. For like StarCraft, you need multiple computers to be playing within like your friends. So like that really like raises the
there's
cost.
a big economic angle to it for sure.
And it's interesting because that fits better into
Japan's
like
different
places
since
like
they have arcades, so it's a somewhat different dynamic. But
but that fits into like the economical culture of places like Korea, China, Taiwan, like places where like poor people typically, or poorer people, can play those games because they have these like
internet
gaming cafes, which we don't really have in the West. Like in the West, if you're playing League of Legends or StarCraft, you have your own rig, which costs like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right?
And I mean, like it's getting more affordable because like even a basic PC can play like Dota or whatever, but like it's definitely true that like you need if you want to play with like your sibling, you gotta have a console, and play like a fighting game is great for that kind of thing in a way that it isn't really for PC games. Halo, I think, used to have like a decently diverse community too, because like it's split screen, so it has the same dynamic.
That just makes sense. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying watching fighters. I spend so much more time. I'm watching it more than any other esport at the minute. I don't even play it that much because I keep hitting a wall. I've got like my basic mechanics down in fighters to a degree, but it's the same wall I hit in every fighting game where just combos are really hard to break through that wall of learning combos. It's like the muscle memory, and it's like I feel like previous muscle memory from other games really helps.
That's why you
adapting
play
to
Smash,
new combos.
then you don't need combos.
Smash still has combos, you bitch.
Well, fighters is definitely
they're just
like
dynamic combat bows, like... not locked in.
It's more than even like Street Fighter. Street Fighter combos are very short. Dragon Ball Fighter combos are very long. So yeah, it's tough, but at the same time, I've played enough of the game that I can really appreciate the things that these guys are doing in ways that I've never been able to appreciate before in fighting games. But like talking about how fighters are the perfect storm, it's just like it's the skill ceiling in that game is so low compared to any fighting game I've ever played. I feel like I've been able to pick up the basics and compete with the auto combos and the super dash, dragon rush systems. Like every character is a
ceiling and the skill floor. Then
I guess the skill curve is what I'm talking about. Is gradual enough that I can kind of get into it. The game looks fantastic. That Arxis art style, that faux 2D art style, just looks so amazing.
Yeah, like no, they are like probably the best at making like anime visuals like that are 3D look good in like a game, like the way that, which I mean they do that by like distorting the models to have like smears and stuff, which is like wild.
Oh, in some animations,
the animations are so good, and like this is just it's perfectly polished, really good decision by artists.
The colors just look so good. Like every stage is just dripping with color. All the characters really pop. It's just visually one of my. I just love looking at it. I think just looking at it in motion as well, like watching people play is really visually exciting. Like there's some characters who are just like so fun to watch. Like Android 16 and Broly just flinging people around, slamming them into the ground.
It feels like watching an anime.
That's kind of part of why I like prefer watching fighting games to any other genre of like competitive games, just because like there's something intuitively fun just about like watching two characters like fight each other that like other genres can't quite capture that because there's too many moving parts. Whereas like if you're just watching any fighting game, you just are watching the two characters. It's nice and like simple and like cool to look at. So I think that's why they make for a good spectator sport.
It can be harder to keep up with something like StarCraft. You know, you really gotta put your brain in over.
Unironically, I don't understand StarCraft, and looking at it, I'm just like, what am I looking at? But if I look at like any fighting game, even if I haven't played it, I can be like, okay, I see what's going on. Like, I might not understand all the combos and button presses, but like, I get what the characters are like doing on a basic level.
Yeah, like Android 16 just picked that guy up from halfway up the screen
and
stuck his head into the fucking floor.
I understand that.
Yeah. But, like, I actually think that the motion looks so much more natural in fighters than most fighting games. Like, there's something about, like, really clunky, slow fighting games like Injustice.
I don't like that.
Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. But it's like the characters are really slow. Like, you got these huge, muscly dudes who are, like, inching towards each other, and, like, they feel like just, like, slabs of meat just, like, clapping against each other. With Dragon Ball Fighters, people are like flinging around. It feels just so much more dynamic, and there's so much more motion on the screen.
I think like
there's literal projectiles
Arxis,
flying everywhere.
and really just like anime fighters in general. But like Arxis is like really good at that. Like they even when you do have like
I think Smash is good.
Smash does too. Well, Smash is I think perfect at that. But you know, we'll slow that down for now. No, like Arxis, there's just something about the way they like animate the characters that makes it feel like smooth, but also not like there's like weight, but it's not like too much weight to that point that it gets kind of like sluggish.
Yeah.
You don't want it to look like they're like throwing around like tissues, but you also don't want it to like feel like like all these like gigantic muscle dudes like slowly moving. I kind of want like some speed, but not too much speed is like the ideal.
Yeah. But like like even like Vegeta is a really popular character because his assist is the best in the game. But like he's a really small character, right? But he just flings his body around. Like he's just like such an acrobat. Like he's using every single joint and limb to just like unleash this flurry of blows, and he's doing backflips, and he's like, it's so fun to just watch him go.
That's why I play Marth in Melee, because he's like a dancer, basically, with his like gracefulness. Truly a beautiful man.
I've bullied Anna into agreeing to watch the Summit of Power with me, because I'm so hyped for it. I've been like, I showed her the Echo Fox versus Goichi, or one of the several finals. I think it was one of the most exciting ones, where I went to 2-3. And just explained like the rivalry here of like Sonic Fox being this like really just this Western prodigy, like quite young, just really dominant in so many games, and also just being queer as fuck. And Goichi being this like kind of older, more experienced player who's just like untouchable, like I feel like almost unbeatable.
Did Goichi play Guilty Gear before this? I feel like I've seen him at EVO.
I think Goichi's played a lot of games. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I usually watch Guilty Gear and Melee are my two games to watch at EVO.
We need to get you watching some fighters.
No, I'll watch fighters. This year.
Yeah. Check out the Combo Breaker finals, because I think it would help you get into the... You have to watch the Summit of Power.
Okay.
We should maybe do a group watch for some of
those. I would watch that.
I'd be down to group watch final day at least.
We have to cheer for our trash mom. There is one, as far as I know, only one female competing. So one woman. I was going to say one female competitor.
Oh no. Female.
I'm sorry. Got these
females
in here. Yeah. Oh my god. But she's amazing. So Dawn is titled like the trash mom of Gotenks, because she pulled out the Gotenks pick from like day one before anyone knew it was like a really viable pick. And like just discovered like loads of really good tech and like strengths of the character that no one else was really seeing. And like if you watch early tournaments of her rocking up with Gotenks, people just didn't know what the fuck Gotenks did. Like there's this really famous clip of her putting out Gotenks' ghost attack, the kamikaze ghosts, and just holding them in place to make a shield while she powered up, which is like the powering up move is literally never used because it's so open to attack. And like the opponent was just like, he didn't know what to do. He literally was like, you could see his like the gears turning in his brain of like what is happening. And like loads of really high profile players have like Echo Fox has Gotenks on his team now. So
honestly, like even having one woman is to me is like, whoa, you have a whole woman in the summit.
So yeah, so we're cheering for Dawn.
Because like in Melee, there's no female competitors in the top 100 players, so you know.
Man.
Maybe one. I'm just going to assume one of those 100 is trans, and then there we go. That's our representation. Yeah. But
oh, and also shout out to fighting game commentators, just blowing every other fucking esports commentator
100%,
out of the water. 100%. I mean, there's maybe like 1 or 2 League of Legends guys who have reached the point in their career where they're just like so tenured, they're just like, fuck it, talking about really dumb shit. And there's some StarCraft commentators like that as well.
Yeah,
who just like
Tastosis is pretty dang safe, so they can cut loose.
Yeah, but the it's just like the vibe you get when like I just love listening to like there's some commentators who get really into it when Android 16 is out with the dunks. They're just like, yeah, dunk him again, dunk him.
Yeah, no, I love it. The less like super uptight professional nature of the whole fighting game scene allows for fun commentating, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, cool. Let's swerve onto Battlefield 5, which is the topic you guys put on the list.
Cool.
Today, so.
Okay, so let's set up the backstory. So basically, Lachlan and I just happened to be watching the stream for Battlefield 5's announcement, right? Together, like while we were in voice call. So we saw it. We were like, "Yo, okay, this looks cool." I mean, I was complaining that no Pacific Theater yet. I want my Pacific Theater. Give me the fucking Japanese like zeros. I need my fucking
dice. Get on that.
My 100 times folded steel. I need my perfect weaponry. I need to praise the Emperor. But that was my complaint. But it looked great. We were like pretty into it. Although like it was very obvious to us what the reaction would be from a certain group of people to the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think the trailer has a few issues, but it's like a co-op and not like it doesn't matter. Like the issues are not that it has like a woman with like a prosthetic arm. The issue is that like there's way too much going on and I can't tell what's happening. But now we have decided that we are officially Battlefield girls, that we are going to be standing Battlefield super hard from here onwards. That I'm returning to my roots. Battlefield 5 is going to be our game of choice. You know how Comic Girls is our
official game of the TCC, just like Comic Girls.
Yeah, Comic Girls are our official anime for this season. Battlefield 5 is our official game for the next 2 years. So, we're going to be giving Battlefield 5 Let's Plays on the channel. Look forward to it. Should we actually do that?
I'd be totally down.
I think definitely put one up. Yeah, okay. People like those Comic Girl videos, so like, yeah, more.
Battlefield on my main channel.
Indeed.
Yeah.
For the donations.
I think with gaming, I think streams make more sense. And
it's just I won't stream on the TCC channel because we don't have donations enabled, and I need that money.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It would be going to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it was on the TC, I'd be like, I'd be there with like my little grubby fingers, like, ooh, where's my cut?
Wow, you'll be getting all of it while I'll also be on the stream contributing. Wow, really, really love you, sweetie. Really fair. Really,
you'll be getting the exposure, Zara.
Wow, yeah.
I'll mod in your
You'll
chat.
pay me an exposure.
I'll look at your chat once every 30 minutes. So that's kind of a. I have to say, Battlefield 5, like, that's kind of a weird game to kind of, like, latch onto this early? Is there like history?
It has a strong Battlefield history.
Yeah, Battlefield was a game I played hundreds of hours of in middle school and like early high school.
Bad Company
2 and Battlefield 3 mostly. I prefer Bad Company 2. I played more 3 because it has a little more variety. So because of that, because I was feeling nostalgic, because like, you know, it's been like 4 or 5 years at this point. Let's latch on to this. Let's do this. Because like, you know, I like FPS games, but you know, I just haven't had the time to really be like a gamer for like 4 years. But if I'm doing it with Lachlan, then it's justified use of my time. So,
yeah. So I signed up for the Origin Access thing, which is $30 a year, and you get like 100 different EA games, a number of the Battlefield titles among them, which is a real good dealio, I think. And I have very limited Battlefield experience, but I played a ton of Call of Duty in my time. I probably literally have like 100 days of playtime among a couple different Call of Duty titles. So I've got the FPS bases.
Some skills carry over, not a massive
like
amount.
purely like aiming your gun carries in certain ways.
Yeah.
I mean, team deathmatch, like a certain number of things carry over, but like Conquest, not much.
Yeah. Like, it's funny, for as much as those two games go head to head, they're really different types of shooters. They're just
like both, like other than being both like the two biggest like military shooters, they're not very similar.
Yeah, no, not really at all. Like, you could totally see someone playing both. Yeah. It's just a case of like, typically when people latch onto a shooter, they latch onto one, and also those games tend to launch expensive and stay expensive until the next one comes out.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, Call of Duty titles from literally a decade ago on Steam are still like $20.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so was Bad Company 2. It was like $20, and it's like that's like a 10-year-old game.
Bad Company 2 is good.
Very good.
I played a lot of that on Xbox 360. Guys, let's talk about Detroit. Yeah.
We're talking about Detroit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we typically don't talk about a lot. We've pretty much just talked about games.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
I think across the podcast in general, we've talked about games way more than we've talked about anime, but you know, like...
Yeah.
I have a YouTube channel where I talk about anime, so that's fine.
Yeah. I used to be on an anime podcast. I actually can't remember how I used to talk about anime like every week. Because I mean, I guess you just kind of like keep it's seasonals though, right? Which yeah. So Detroit. None of us have played it. None of us are going to.
But let's talk about it anyways.
It's a really juicy meme. It's a really juicy meme right now. Detroit is David Cage's newest outing. David
Visual
Cage
gaming experience.
Yeah, David Cage, of course, being the genius who brought you titles like
Omnicron, the Nomad Soul.
What?
That's his like 99 game, which has music from David Bowie, but is also total dog shit.
Cool. Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. Heavy Rain probably being his most famous.
Probably, yeah.
Which to be fair was like, if you talk about PS3 games, it's like you've got to bring it up in the top 10 like all-time PS3 games.
Like top
maybe not
10
for quality,
deaths.
but certainly for
importance,
for impact. For importance. Yeah.
Yeah, not many people were doing what he did back then. Now his like style of game is like normal, and like there's nothing stand out about it at all. But back in like 2010, it was a little more.
David Cage has made a career of doing things like 3 years before the rest of the game industry is doing them, and doing them remarkably poorly, but just on account of being ahead of the curve in that manner, garnering sort of reputation and some degree of sort of admiration.
But now he's no longer ahead of the curve in any real way.
Yeah, that's kind of faded as like the rate of advancement of gaming technology has slowed, and that's just become like an infeasibility being ahead of the curve in that manner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just like, I think games like...
Oh my god, I didn't know this tweet blew up so much from Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
Which tweet?
Oh, wow, yeah, nice one.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Hashtag topical.
I think games like A Way Out, which came out earlier this year, really eats Detroit's lunch. Because like A Way Out came out and it was like this really cool kind of co-op story experience.
Well, no, there's games like A Year Out for like the exact same theme or like the exact same like topic, but a billion times better. Obviously, the memes are all near automata. Like he's kind of been beat in like every like sense on this, other than like critical review scores somehow. But
Well, there's always games like that though. There's always games which aren't, so it's a case of they're not so visibly bad that a reviewer can sit down and say this is a bad game because it kind of just ticks all the boxes.
Well, no, okay, there was like one review that had like a
things like Bioshock
amazing. Okay. Kotaku's first line was the PS4's latest blockbuster movie game, Detroit Become Human, is like something my Alexa would come up with. Were I to ask her to write a story about androids with feelings. Okay, that's.
Yeah. But it's like it's
just not broken though. I don't think the game is broken.
That's the thing. It's functional. It's competent to competent enough to a degree where it's like, if you're a reviewer sitting down, it depends. I think critics are the kind of people, like a game critic is the kind of person. Who
I feel like this might be like a situation where, like the initial reviews are like pretty good, kind of like, or even maybe even really good, like BioShock Infinite. But then when you actually get like longer like critiques and like essays and like the months to come, they're all like, this is really problematic and not good. BioShock Infinite is probably definitely the best example of like how the tide can turn on like a game's reception.
I mean, there's other examples as well. Things like Fallout 3, even like GTA 4. I feel like the story kind of shifted on that, not from gameplay, but the story of like it came out to like just glowing reviews across the board, and then very quickly the Rome and let's go bowling memes just really kicked in. And it became a bit of a joke. There's definitely games like that for sure. But BioShock Infinite, I think, was the definite crown of like a game that was like critically adored when it launched, and then once people had enough time to really sit with it and digest it, it was like, actually no, this is kind of bullshit. This is kind of like not as good as a lot of people are saying. To be fair, I actually still like
reviewers like
a lot, but
don't have time to like sit on their opinions. You got to get that out before like by the day the embargo ends. So like you kind of don't have a ton of time to like ruminate on it and like critique it as much as you do to like just like kind of give like a very base criticism. So like, I mean, it's fair to sometimes to get like scores that maybe are a little sketchy in retrospect.
Yeah, I mean, I must be honest. So I think for me, what I see about Detroit that it does, I think its biggest like dumbass idea is letting David Cage make his take on civil rights. That is not. Come on,
not a good idea.
Who greenlit that? Like, if it wasn't for that, I think it would be pretty much just the same story as Beyond Two Souls. It's like, Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain are not particularly drastically different in quality, but the narrative had changed so much by the time Beyond Two Souls. I actually think Beyond Two Souls is better than Heavy Rain, a lot better. Like, if it wasn't for just like the really clumsy civil rights stuff just being so juicy to dunk on,
and also
this
like
would literally just be another Beyond Two Souls.
His simultaneous placement of that in his game and denial of a slavery allegory, a racism allegory to his game.
Like the fact that he said, "Oh, it's not a like he literally said at one point, "This I'm not trying to say anything. There's no message here. I'm not trying to say anything." And then he literally puts the androids in the back of the bus and has them try to escape to Canada. On the in the underground
slavery
railroad.
Metaphor. Androids to the back of the bus.
That's like some like Evangelion shit where it's like, clearly you are trying to say something here, but he's like, nope.
That one, I don't think Anna was actually the one who said that. It doesn't, the religious stuff doesn't mean anything. I think it was like some animator who said it didn't mean anything, and like it just got misattributed. Do not trust me.
Maybe.
Do not trust me. I'm pretty sure.
Who cares about misattributing? Anime was a mistake.
You're right.
If it's a juicy meme, then we keep
True.
it.
That's true. That's true.
But also, I think like the religious imagery in Evangelion doesn't sort of purport to mean something nearly as much so as the racism allegories in Detroit Become Human.
Oh yeah, there's one like prompt in the game where you get to choose from like various quotes from I Have a Dream. It's so bad.
Oh my god, did you see the meme? That was like quotes I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Oh no. It makes sense that like your giant alien monsters would like blow up with a cross, and that would like just be because it looks cool. Like, you can understand reasoning there. It does not make sense that an android is told to sit in the back of the bus and quote Martin Luther King, and that is not a racism allegory.
Like, that's the thing. Say it's a racism
Escapes to
allegory.
Canada in a chapter called Railroad. Remember that part. Don't forget. It's also not a good racism allegory, so you know.
Well, I mean, there was a railroad. There was a railroad stuff in Fallout 4.
Yeah, but that was also
robots.
poorly done. I don't think Fallout 4 is a great example of writing either. So
Probably not. I'm just saying, like, yeah. Actually, I remember meeting the railroad in that game. I never followed that storyline there.
Here's the option prompts.
We have a dream. I think, therefore I am. One planet, two races. Equal rights for androids.
Oh, I like the. My favorite is the press X for sadness.
Yeah. So it's like the image is like a dude in front of a canvas. Is the context for that like pick the mood of the painting you're gonna paint?
Yeah,
okay.
I have to imagine it is.
That, like as much as like that's easy to dunk on, that feels like it actually sort of makes sense. Much more so.
Oh my
than,
god!
like,
Yeah, but
everyday
it's the same as
respect.
press F
I
to
forgot.
pay respect.
Yeah,
It's not actually. It's just a button prompt,
yeah.
but it's just funny.
According to Austin Walker, when he interviewed David Cage once, he said that Cage said that like the game's not like Blade Runner because in Detroit the point is to empathize with the androids. Whereas in Blade Runner, you're clearly not supposed to empathize with them.
He's such a dumbass. I think it was. I want to say it was a Heather Alexandra interview with David Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Where, oh my god, I have to try and find this boy.
David Cage is literally the WoW Cool Robot meme.
Hang on. Oh my god, yeah. Hang on. I know she retweeted it like a few days ago. Let's see how much. Please don't tweet too much so I can find this. Because it's just like, I really want to read the actual thing. It's amazing. The actual thing is amazing. And it's actually an older interview. I think it's from when the demo went up.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to have to dig a little. So how about this? How about I bounce our final topic to you guys while I dig for this?
Cool. And
then I'll just like jump in out of nowhere with it when I find it. Just like completely derail the conversation. Talk about Amaki Sally.
Yes. Amaki Sally. So, I mean, we talked about her last week, but
the challenger to the throne.
So, okay, we gotta set up this rivalry. Okay, she does win. We gotta set up the rivalry first. So, I've been trying for so long to be a real life Yuri manga. It's so much work. It takes so much effort, right? And then Sally, she just shows up and like instantly takes my throne. And look, I'm willing to give it to her, but it's rude. It's really rude.
What's the tweet specifically?
At this point, we just need to stop bringing out her tweets because.
Okay. The tweet was, I retweeted it. So someone asked, "Hey Sally, thoughts on the Yuri genre?" And she replied, "I am the Yuri genre." Yeah. She like. I mean, you know, she finally like is constantly like hitting on her like fucking bandmates, her fellow idols.
Has like an immense skill, and it's one of the greatest you can have as just like an online person, for crafting memorable mimetic phrases, and that's just like a stellar way of marketing yourself because those will spread around. You know, I am the Yuri genre, brilliant. And you see it like Giguk, he can do like tournament arc or anime is trash and so am I and all these things, and that's like a major component sort of his mimetic success. And you see other people like Jeff trying to do the same with "I am the anime pope, fuck you, fight me." It's all about sort of creating this phraseology that you're able to brand yourself with, and she just does that
perfectly,
so effortlessly and so naturally. It's really a joy to witness. That's my like cynical marketing personality breakdown of Sally Amaki's very pure and good.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I my favorite instance of Sally Amaki might be one of her Twitter videos where she arrives at the studio and she's warming up, and she just like zooms in on one of the other idols warming up, and specifically on their butt, and she like breathlessly repeats "kawaii, kawaii, kawaii."
Yeah, she's a legend. She's really like perfect.
She's my hero and what I aspire to be every day.
I think she's younger than me though, so that's kind of.
Sasuga.
She's like, look, if you're reading gay fanfic and you're an idol, like, come on, like how can you touch that? Like, I relate hard now that I'm a fanfic writer. Now that I'm constantly up here writing fanfics, and like, you know, I've got 4 fanfics out at this point. By the way, check out my AO3 page. You know, I relate to her. She's perfect. She is an angel. I stan Amaki Sally.
No.
Yeah, yeah. She so
the official idol of the TCC. We're laying.
100%.
I don't know, because her being an idol is completely irrelevant to her success on Twitter.
Yeah, but she is an idol.
No, it's
though.
not irrelevant, but it's like it's not. She isn't getting popular in our circles because of her idol stuff. It's because of her personality.
It's important to her success because it's like part of her general character. And I think part of it.
Yeah, but it's not the driving force.
I think part of it,
I think she's made. I think her Twitter would be great on its own, but I think there is like an extra value to it of her being like an idol and still doing it.
Yeah,
the idol is the context. But it's not what we're here for.
It's
because
not
there's a billion idols.
It's not the draw, but it's like
she's not like getting fans sort of because she is an idol, like in the same manner that idols get fans just for being idols. But the fact she is an idol is like a sort of foundational context for the rest of her character. So it's not direct, but it is related. But I definitely think that the appeal goes far beyond sort of idol appeal.
Oh, I found it, by the way. I told you I was gonna fucking derail. So it's from a Eurogamer interview from when the demo went up, and the interviewer asked David Cage, "Domestic abuse and child abuse is quite extreme as things go." David Cage responds with, "Let me ask you this question. Would you ask this question to a film director or to a writer? Would you?" Yes.
Yes.
You would ask the same question? Yes, I'd ask the same question. Why is it interesting to you? Why did you want to explore domestic abuse and child abuse?
Man. David.
What a dumbass. And literally that is the fucking... That is the title quote. It's literally the title quote of this article is, "Would you ask this question to a film director or a writer?" It's got nothing to do with it. It's just the fucking stupid thing he said.
I mean, that's that's like how you title a David Cage article.
Yeah,
game overs
quote
are
the
a
stupid
failure
thing he
of
says
the
in
game
it.
designer.
Okay. Sorry. Back to Sally Amaki.
Sally Amaki is the success of the game designer.
I mean, it's kind of... I think, to me, the most disappointing possible outcome would be that actually Sally Amaki's tweets are like
a marketing
they
thing.
thought of this character, the management thought this character up.
It could be.
Which it could be. But at the same time, I don't have anywhere near enough faith in the intellect of... like the foresight of idol management groups. Like, let's be honest, Baby Metal was the biggest fluke in idol history.
It did be like
they just play it so safe.
An insanely strong marketing.
Okay, like 22/7 is run by like Aniplex and Sony Music Record. It's not some like if it were like some underground idol group, I could imagine that they could have come up with that. But for like a large
XAKB48 dude,
that's like the most mainstream. Yeah, it's Yasuhi Akimoto who like was major in AKB48. I think he like that. AKB48 is not some like underground idol group where like they have like actual gimmicks. That's like the most like generic ass like.
Yeah.
We are.
I think the most credit I would give the management is them going out of their way to sign an English speaking idol.
Yeah, that's cool.
The problem is when they brought that LA gay with them, like they didn't see it. Like I just think it's such an interesting dynamic because when I see Sally Amaki, and I do believe that there's a lot of genuineness on that feed, I think what I see behind it all is I see a very intelligent and career focused young woman who knows exactly how to use social media.
I mean, I think there's like some performativity, but like that's true for like all of us who use social media like at all.
Yeah,
so like it's not. I don't think it's specific to her being an idol.
I think there's a lot of performativity because I mean, what's the kind of person who would move to Japan to become a voice actress and an idol?
Yeah, that's true.
Is the kind of person who is going to very meticulously think about their social media presence.
Yeah, but like I mean, you can be
like that doesn't take away from it. That doesn't take
without,
anything away
lying.
from it.
I'm sure she actually is gay.
Performative. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And even if it's not entirely genuine, I mean, okay, yeah, if she was straight, it would be pretty fucked up. But like, even if like that's not her personality at all, like so what? That's like so many people on social media, so many big social media accounts are personas. I mean, we've had personas in media for fucking ages. And social media is
since
a
what,
like
media. 2001?
What?
Persona started.
Well, no, we've had like. There's been like people in British comedy. Was that a joke I made?
It was like a game about the Persona game.
That started way before 2001.
When was the first Persona?
Like 96,
late 90s,
I think.
Yeah, older than that. Yeah, for sure. PS1.
96.
But yeah, like there's been.
So what you're saying, Brooke, is that YouTubers are good, actually.
I'm saying that YouTubers are very good at what they do. You know, they're very good at making the platform work for them. You know, and I think there's a lot of savviness in the YouTube space, and as the algorithms change and as things like, you know, like how long did it take Vine? How long did it take for that Vine platform to get Viners and people who knew exactly how to hit that platform exactly the right way to get money? You know,
I don't know actually because I know like nothing about Vine on like a
Vine
mechanics level and stuff, but.
Yeah,
I'd imagine
it didn't take long.
Quickly. Yeah,
yeah, it didn't take long. So I think I see Sally as someone who is queer and very
ambitious,
intelligent. Kind of basically, she's, you know, in her own way, she's a Viner or a YouTuber or something. She's got this like social media plan and she's executing it really well. I mean, look, like the amount of autonomousness that she actually has within that group is kind of shocking to me. And I wonder if that was a goal or a happy accident that she is taking full advantage of. I would like to think it was her goal from the beginning.
I think like she might have had like the idea in mind, but like she would have had no way to know whether management would actually like let her do any of this stuff.
What's the size of her Twitter?
Right now it's like 14,000 followers.
Relative to the other members of the group?
Do they even have I think like they gave a few of the others Twitters too. I mean, for a long time they weren't allowed to have Twitter. So, let me scroll down to where she mentioned the Twitters of the other members.
I'd just be curious to see sort of if her profile is notably larger than her idol mates.
I mean, from what I understand, she was like
without a doubt
the least popular member of the group until Western fans discovered that she existed.
Right. Yeah.
So I can see that kind of being like that was her like
boost.
You know, I mean, they say that like making it big is like 99% luck and 1% knowing when to seize the luck. You know, and that could be her moment. But I think there's definitely
one of them has
1,300.
One of them has 1,300. One of them has 1,300. One of them has 1,000. So she's a lot bigger than them.
I mean, obviously,
so she's the boss.
Twitter following is a minor component of like whichever members' drama CDs are getting bought more are like matters way more than Twitter followers. But she does have sort of
she's already got 3,000 followers on Instagram, and she only started her Instagram like a few days ago.
That is going to keep going, by the way, because she keeps getting retweeted. She gets so much interactions off her tweets because they're so good. They're so high quality tweets.
She she has
she will just keep growing.
like a degree of social acumen that she can wield.
She's so smart. But it's that generation of kids that grew up watching Vine who just are like, it's that generation of kids in America who grew up with social media, and it's just part of their psyche in a way that like the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds are just never going to be able to keep up with.
She just understands like modern meme culture in like a way that like she understands modern meme culture, and also like a girl who speaks Japanese and can be an idol in Japan. So she's basically set. She, given that she like knows how to play her cards,
she has a very unique set of skills. It's like that is a niche. That is like, who else can fill it?
Yeah, like how many? Okay, you have to know Japanese and be like accepted by like a Japanese idol group, but also you have to be like
talented enough to
an American who like understands modern like youth meme culture,
American meme culture.
But like I was kind of on Twitter just like talking about like what is her potential career paths, right? Where does she see herself going? Like, let's say that she is a very ambitious young lady, which I have to imagine she is.
I mean, I'm sure she wants to do like other voice acting roles, since that's like why she came to Japan in the first place. But if she gets popular enough, she could just get roles for voice acting.
I mean, she could do both.
Yeah,
you know.
No, she totally could.
Especially
and just see whatever takes.
I mean,
off
nowadays almost all voice actors
anime,
like do both.
A character in an anime that like needs to speak English.
She can like, actually speak English.
She could do that really well. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see her going into YouTube. Honestly. Like she might have more traction.
I'm not sure
social
if
media
YouTube
side.
is the best platform for her. Honestly,
well, I mean,
feel like
honestly, she could go straight into like comedy.
Virtual YouTubers are doing real well, and they're from Japan.
No,
like
she
could easily
do it.
I'm not even talking about that. The ceiling
clearly
on virtual YouTubers is so low compared to what she could. She could be like there's people out there with fucking millions of followers who just like do makeup, do singing, do vlog content. You know, she could go into that and hit that like multicultural niche that would get her immediately in a
especially
niche.
if she like continued to do some level of like
Patreon.
If she was like doing some level of voice acting on the side while also having like a YouTube channel,
exactly,
that'd be really big for her.
Well, yeah, just like
exactly
being someone who is doing a cool thing is a huge asset for YouTube, because you can incorporate it into your channel. You can have content about like your idol performance or idol practice or voice acting recording session or whatever.
I mean, like the K-pop groups do have a lot of YouTube presence,
but
that's not even leaving the idol sphere.
Like, I haven't seen something from Sally that would be like super well suited to YouTube. I don't
know, her live streams like
work.
Have you seen how many of the live stream like clips have you seen, Lachlan?
I've seen a decent amount of live stream.
I feel like those would convert to like vlogging pretty easily.
Yeah, she's definitely. She's definitely got.
Right, that's she's the thing. It's so hard to grow in vlogging because like.
No, you're right. But she already has like 14K followers after like
it's hard
10 days.
Yeah. Exactly, she's already beaten the hump.
No, it would just depend on like how many of those she could get to cross over to YouTube, and like she might be able to do it. She may very well be able to do it. I'm just.
Who knows? Like in a month from now, she might have like 50K followers on Twitter. Yeah. Like we have no idea how
easily she'll have 50K.
Well, in a month, maybe. It's definitely possible. It's only been 10 days, so like it's definitely.
If people are following her just for the gifts or just for like the one-liners, which maybe a large component of her audience would be, especially at that point, that doesn't necessarily carry over to interest in like a 10-minute vlog, you know.
But I mean, like, I think she has so many of the things that she needs.
Part of the reason she already has 14K followers is because like she already had like a sizable fan base just from like the live stream clips.
Yeah,
so
I think the streaming better suits her.
But I mean, how many people do we know that are just discovering her now after she got her Twitter?
Both the ceiling on streaming is higher than YouTube at this stage, and the competition, while significant, is I think still a bit lesser, just because YouTube is like a giant cesspit of content at this stage that you've got to like fight your way up through the swamp.
That's the thing. If she's motivated enough and she has like a support system in place, she can hit all of these things at once.
Yeah,
like, you know, there are people out there who are hitting Twitch and YouTube and Twitter you know, and have stuff on the side as well, like a voice acting gig on the side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's possible for her to do all of this
she's
stuff.
Got like a lot of room to grow in whatever direction she wants.
Pretty much. That's something I think you can see already that she's throwing around weight in that organization, like getting her Twitter, getting her Instagram within like a week. You know, like it's like something. I don't know, like the autonomousness of it is like something I've never really heard about in idol groups before, which is super interesting. Of like this like rising star within the group.
I mean, okay, I'm not gonna try and pretend to speak definitively about idols. I don't know like that much about idols, but like I don't think you usually see this level of it for most groups, at least for like ones by like major labels. Like I said, I don't know anything about like the underground idol scene.
Does like the idol group itself have a Twitter?
Yeah, they do.
And what is that relative?
Yes, it does. But I mean, like, idols typically have very little autonomousness within their own groups. Like, literally, when management decides it's
just
time
above
to
hers.
The Glue Factory, they're
the
gone.
22/7 one is just above hers. So like, she's about to pass it. Like by the end of the day. Yeah,
I mean that's huge, right?
Like, and sort of seeing an individual idol sort of outgrow the prominence or overshadow the prominence of your other individual members, and then certainly of just a group itself, is not something you see a lot, and it could even be something they
does make you wonder about what kind of contract she's in, because she'll have contract she'll have signed it when she had nowhere near this clout. You know, if it was like a 5-year thing, ooh, could be rough. Yeah. There's just something to me. I guess I kind of want her to boss this as much as possible, because there's something to me about a female artist just taking her own path into her own hands. Especially like there's something that I really just do not like, the attitude of graduation in idol groups. This idea of like literally the members of these groups are so disposable that as, like when they hit something as arbitrary as an age limit, they're gone. Like that it's.
From what I understand, that is mostly for like the absolutely massive groups that are like AKB48. Like I think the like smaller ones, they're like 5 people generally, are like more tight knit. And
I know,
no, but yeah,
I'm just saying it's like the big groups are the ones that kind of set the awareness, set the perception. She
smelled so nice, and her skin was so smooth.
What the hell are you talking?
With cute girls taking my heart today.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's definitely,
I also got her contact.
That's definitely a tweet from Sally.
Texted her already.
Oh my god, there's a timeline where Sally gets a girlfriend.
I'm almost certain she is not allowed to talk about that though.
Oh yeah, but this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. There's a timeline where Sally gets a girlfriend, and it becomes one of the biggest idol talking points of the decade.
Yeah.
In which case, I am starting a GoFundMe to fucking bail out.
Protect Sally Amaki free speech.
Whatever.
Dave
like,
Rubin, help
get
me.
out too.
This one, okay. Do you want to
get out too? So, get Sally home.
The context makes this even better. The person above them basically asked like, so like on Kiss Day, were you allowed to kiss on Kiss Day? And like, is it true that you kissed whatever other girl, I don't know, Mizuhan or whatever, on the cheek? And she says the cheek, and then posts that picture.
The cheek of that question.
God, what a legend.
Yeah, we love her. I mean, we were talking about her last week as well, just saying like Sally Amaki could very quickly become like another Hayley Kiyoko, of like a genuine queer icon for women in pop.
No, I mean, there's definitely a space for that, and a big sort of audience for that, desire for that, with, as you mentioned, Hayley Kiyoko, and then Janelle Monáe, who somewhat recently came out as pansexual. It's good.
Oh, that Pink music video. Oh my god. I mean, it's very cis focused.
I mean, the entire Dirty Computer emotion picture
not a hill I'll die
is pretty fucking queer, but we're already running late, so I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah. We're wrapping this up very soon, because we've got Butt Club today. In fact, let's do it now. Let's wrap this one up. So, follow Sally Amaki on Twitter. and check out The Bride Was a Boy for next month's book club. And yeah, the Time of Eve book club episode will be going up in probably a day or two. But yeah, that's it from the three of us here at the Transculture Club. Before we leave, we've got to do the one last little bit of business. Zeria, what is Transculture this week? I know. This is my new favorite thing: is surprising people.
Oh no.
Transculture this week is hitting the battlefield with your gamer girl GF.
Thank you. Okay, that's my answer.
That's mine.
No,
that's mine. Okay, Transculture this week.
Technically, I did say sorry. Like
Transculture this week is your useless GF stealing your Transculture this week because she can't think of her own.
Cool. Always really specific.
Relatable.
Transculture.
Maybe you shouldn't have grabbed us and then we start dating immediately before we start the podcast. Good decisions.
I think that Transculture this week is flags. Everyone gets a flag. You get a flag. You get a flag.
Tempting.
Sally and Amaki gets a flag.
Oh, okay. Sword lesbians. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
All
there
the
you
queer
go.
stereotypes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Brooke, you win.
No. This is flags. I'll take sword another week. I'll take another W when I with swords. Flags. Transculture is flags.
I'll vote for you, Brooke, because
I'll vote flags.
I mean, Lachlan came up with mine and her own.
Maybe one of the flags. Maybe one of the flags has a sword on it. Carly Rae Jepsen's flag has a sword on it. Okay, cool. So Transculture is flags. We've been the Transculture Club, and yeah, see you next week. Better show up.
Bye.
See you guys.